Hello, everybody. My goodness, that is a lot of you already in chat. Just let me bring my camera a little bit closer. I felt like it was a little far away the last time we were here. I also need to, Jesus Christ, turn my music down. I feel like I'm shouting hello. Hello to Javier, to Unbreakable, to Ken, to Carlos, to Slink, and to Havman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you guys ready to keep working on dear sweet Gambit? I know, I know that it might be too soon for some of you, but to be perfectly fair, I started planning this painting tutorial before episode 5 happened. And I felt it was only appropriate to focus on my boy here. So, today we are going to hopefully get some work done on his jacket, and then possibly move on to his face and hair. We'll see how that goes. And then possibly the metallics. Actually, it might be the jacket and the metallics is what we end up doing. But I think I'm going to try doing the jacket first. That's what I'm feeling. So, I need to do a little bit of cleanup, because I did get some of my other colors on the jacket. Now, the one thing is like, if I do the jacket, I am going to have to be especially careful when I do some of the other areas, and I think I can manage that. I think that'll be doable. So, I think this is the right choice. Let's get some primer ready. Oh yeah, no, this is my whole unfortunately the out of print now. They're called jersey dresses, I think, or something like that, or skater dresses. That's what they're called. I think it's like a jersey-ish or jeany material that's stretchy. Wild Bangarang is the company that I used to be able to buy these awesome things from, but unfortunately, I don't know, like, what actually happened. And people ask me all the time because they're like, oh, where did you get that? Like, my significant other or girlfriend or whoever would, like, love that. And I'm like, unfortunately, the company no longer exists. They just disappeared. Like, they didn't fulfill a bunch of orders, apparently, at the end, and they just... And I don't know what happened, and unfortunately, while Games Workshop has absolutely given their license out to other clothing brands, they have never found another, like, place to do super cute skater dresses or leggings. Like, they do sweatpants and stuff like that, which are fine, but man, I want some good leggings again. I miss them. Because they had a huge variety. Like, Wild Bangarang had a massive license for Warhammer 40k, and I only ended up getting, like, a small number of them, and I really regret not having gotten more before they were gone. Alright, we need to clean up his jacket, so let's get some Wraithbone on our palette. Oh no! Well, I'm glad it's not an audio issue. Does everything sound fine now? Oh, I do not have any music playing, though. That's one of the things that's not happening. There, now you've got some music playing. Hello, Mr. J. Always lovely to see you in chat. I'm doing quite well today, thank you. I'm honestly, I will admit, I'm feeling a little lazy. Like, I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I'm actually, like, doing this, but leading up to this, I was just like, man, I don't want to paint today. It's really gray out. So the last, like, several days has been super beautiful, blue skies. The, like, hills have looked super green. Like, we're in full-on spring in California mode. And things are blooming and everything. And then today, as is spring in California, it got completely overcast again. And I am, like, I personally... Sorry, my nose is running a little bit. As I've gotten older, I have realized that I am very dependent on sunlight. I think I'm secretly a plant. It's one of the reasons that if for any of you guys that are old fans of Tabletop Tactics back when Bones was there, whenever he described himself as being a plant, like, and relating to orcs, I really related to that because, good lord, lack of sunlight severely affects me. Ken, I mean, listen, all I wanted to do, like, this is what I want to do today. I'm going to tell you guys exactly right now what I explicitly wanted to do today. And it's been pulling teeth to get me to come to this stream. I just want to sit on my couch and watch the fucking Fallout show because I am loving it. I've watched 3 episodes. You cannot talk about anything past episode 3, for I have not watched past episode 3. But holy shit, I love it. It's so good. It's so well done. It has reinvigorated, like, my optimism for big, like, streaming brands to make original features based off of products and IPs that I like or love. And so I'm hoping we get more like this because I just feel like the team really understands the universe and it's just really good. And that's all I wanted to be doing today. And then after that, I want to take a bath. That was my plan. That's what I wanted to do. But instead, I filmed. You know, as is my job, because I'm doing my job, and now we're doing the stream, which is good. I mean, I want to get Gambit, like, worked on and completed, so this is also good. But, like, really, I've been really wanting to, I think it's because it's overcast and, like, gray out. I really just, it's not raining, that's the problem. It's like, it stopped, it was raining earlier, but I don't think it's raining anymore, and I don't like cloudy skies without rain. But yeah, I just want to watch Fallout, man. That's all I want to do. Like, I'm so intrigued by literally all of the characters. They're so good, all of them. That makes sense. Like, I have definitely heard that. I know a lot of people, that's why some people get really depressed. Like, I could never live in Seattle. Like, whenever people talk about, like, oh, how Washington is very, like, overcast, or Seattle specifically is very overcast and cloudy a lot of the time, or more regularly than, like, not, I couldn't, like, thinking about it, knowing how my mood is just horrifically affected by prolonged lack of sunlight, I could never, I'd be so upset there. So anybody that lives there, I am impressed. I'm not being, like, super anal about the cleanup on the underside of his jacket, because you're not going to see a lot of it, especially up really, really close to his butt. Because you're just, you know, even if you're looking at him straight on, you can not see most of the underside. Like, you see a little bit of glimpse of it, but, like, you know, where all that shadowed part is, that's what you would see. However, I still want it to be a little cleaner if I can, so I'm going to still paint it if I can. As long as I don't get too close to the pants, basically. I'm just trying to avoid getting too close to the pants. Isn't that more of a modern thing, though, because of global warming, less so, like... Because I thought, like, normally in the past, Washington was in a just very wet part of the climate, like, or of the hemisphere. Because of how, like, the mountains sit with it and everything. So I could definitely believe it maybe gets less now. But is it overcast a lot, though? Like, because rain isn't what actually bothers me. Rain is fine. It's when it's cloudy and no rain. Like, that super depresses me. So if you don't have a lot of sun, I'll cry. Listen, I want to get into Gambit's pants, thought Smith, but I don't want to get too close to them with this paint. We don't want to mark his beautiful butt with the wrong paint color tone. Now, he has eyes for Rogue only, though. You gotta be unable to touch him for him to... It's not actually true. I'm sure he's, like, dated other people. Actually, who has dated? Because I don't know... Outside of him being lover boys with Rogue, I actually don't know who else Gambit's banged. And I feel like all of the X-Men, or all the mutants, like, bang each other. Like, inevitably. Some of them are more hoish than others. Mystique, Logan, Magneto, actually. Technically Cyclops, if you think about it. I was watching I think it was like a new Rockstars video or something, maybe some other channel that does like coverage of like X-Men and comics and like goes over the history, and because of 97 being out, they were talking about the children, the family, the Summers family. It's really funny how many like people they've banged, how many kids they've had with other people that have gotten either remained canon or not, how many Summers brothers there are. Dude, Thoughtsmith, I completely agree. The MCP sculptors do actually make, like, they sculpt butts very well. They've really captured the muscular, athletic ass of a superhero. They've nailed it. Because, like, the women and the men, very, very good. Very, very good. No, no, he is, because he has Madeline, he has Jean, and he has, Emma Frost. And I'm pretty sure he also, like, surely he goes with somebody during, like, the stuff he's leading into right now, where he's going little rogue. And I don't mean that in the sense of, like, banging Rogue the character, but, like, literally, he's taking a page from Magnus's book and going, you know, fuck these humans a little bit. Like, you guys suck, and, like, thank God we're not like you, because, like, you'd be dead. I loved that line. I loved that line. I don't like Cyclops being a goody two-shoes, but I understand that part of the reason why I end up liking him so much when he goes and, like, flips out and, like, starts being a badass, and a bad boy, specifically, it turns me on more because I'm like, oh, well, but he used to be such a boring scout, you know, Boy Scout character, and now he's no longer that. So I'm really excited for where they're taking Cyclops. Like, I'm so ready for this Cyclops. All right, let's get back to some painting. There's a parallel world where Storm's a vampire and then makes Gambit a vampire? Why did I've never known this. I'm not surprised that there's, like, alternate worlds where, like, they're vampires or something like that, but, like, fuck, I love vampire lore and, like, stories so much. That sounds so good. I'll have to look that up. Is the art for it good? Like, I hope so. Alright, we definitely need to do some cleanup on the collar. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I agree, Slink. I think that's a much better approach to him, and I do agree that he sometimes gets written. Honestly, the joke about him being a Boy Scout is very appropriate of how he ends up getting written, and I do wonder why so many authors decided to continue to take it that way. I mean, I guess it just become an archetype of the character specifically, but like it did mean that when they did end up pushing it and going a little bit more hard with him, it did really make for some, you know, invigorating reading. Alright, I'm gonna concentrate for a moment because I need to get the inside of this collar cleaned, and that's a lot closer to a lot of stuff that I've already painted, so... There we go, I think that's looking okay. I think if I go in this side, yeah, that'll take care of that angle. There's like a little... There we go. Okay. Huh. Alright, that looks good. I think we're now clean on that side. We'll just need to flip it over and do the other side and then get like more of the back. See if I can get a little bit more on the side of his face. Can't tell if that's shadow or paint. Okay. Alright. Not bad. Oh yeah, like his dad in the Space Pirates? That would be really cool. And then his mom, who ended up, like, having a bunch of children with, like, a king of some planet, I think, ended up happening or whatever. I remember, like, that's where, like, one of Cyclops' half-brothers comes from. He's got long blonde hair. Yes, Chris, I am using Wraithbone as my primer. Because I like to use contrast colors. I think it works really well, and, I decided to go without the grisaille on these particular models because I thought that the brighter saturation of the truest color of the contrast with a little of that warmth of the Wraithbone beneath it would probably work to the really bold 90s pop I want out of these models, because I'm really going for that comic look. Oh, I just realized I have like 0 water or soda or anything like that, so I'm gonna be right back. I'll leave him hanging out there for everybody to stare at in his glory, and I'll be back in just a second. Just gonna run upstairs and grab a drink. Grant, we're doing great. Thank you so much. Yes, Havoc is one of his brothers. Alright, be right back, guys. Woo! I have returned. I have a glass of water now. I also had the best neck crack. It was so good. Oh my god. I needed that too, because I was like weirdly cramping in one of my ears. And like, oh my god, the neck crack really relieved that, so heck yeah. Ooh, Thoughtsmith. You know, I haven't actually thought about what I'm going to be doing with all the excess MCP bases, because I do at this point have a number of them. I have built... It's not a huge collection of them, but I have... It's starting to grow. And it's mostly X-Men, actually. I really do like the X-Men sculpts from MCP. Especially since a lot of them are the more modern ones, and I really like the more dynamic poses that they're getting nowadays. Like, not to say that the early ones didn't have some interesting or dynamic poses, but I do feel like modernly they're a bit more dynamic. Like, they've really increased the just drama of what can be happening with the sculpt. And the same thing I would say for Shatterpoint. Like, Atomic Mass, I just think overall, across all of its lines, has really started to do more with that. Because I think it's more engaging, too, for us as, like, painters and, like, people enthused about those characters. We want to see them more looking like how we see them in the other media that we watch them in, you know? So you can do either. On this particular model, oops, sorry, let me get him on screen. So for this particular model, both the rogue that I painted up and this... Boy, I'm trying to explain some paint. Sorry, my cat was meowing at me. I think he wants lunch. He woke up and he realized, oh, it's after 1 and I haven't eaten yet. Even though you ate at 11. You don't need to be fed every 2 hours, you're fine. But, to get back to my point, so... For these particular models, what I went ahead and did is I just primed them in Wraithbone and immediately got started on applying additional color on them. So that's the only primer I used was Wraithbone. What I will often do, and you can do a variety of different things like this, but you can do a Zenithal prime, which is often done either with an airbrush or just rattle can primers, but I have seen people do it also with a dry brush, which is also how you would apply a Grisaille or Slap Chop prime method, which just establishes, and then the point of the Zenithal and the Slap Chop method is to apply a level of pre-shade and pre-highlight to the model for you to then work with in a, what I personally find a greater and better guidance capacity for where you should be putting additional highlight colors or shadow colors if you so choose to do it. And especially Grisaille or Slap Chop, as it's more commonly called, within like the miniature community, is often done with the expectation that you're going to be using either speed paint or contrast colors, because it works really, really well with those, because those particular paints are inherently more transparent than, say, the standard paints that you might be more familiar with if you've painted miniatures like before contrast colors really became a thing on the market. These are a lot thicker. You have to add a lot more water and or other mediums to them in order to get them to be as fluid as contrast is or speed paint is. I would, if you've worked with other like art mediums in the past, like not specific to miniature painting, but like just art in general, if you've ever worked with inks at all, that is basically how I would describe contrast and speed paints in regards to their pigmentation and the way that they move over a material. They're really, really nice. I like them for that reason. Like, they're type of medium that I'm most comfortable working with. Although, as I've been working and growing this channel, I've gotten a lot more comfortable using, you know, our standard acrylic paints, which I used to really not like because I felt like I couldn't blend them super well. But I've gotten a better understanding of how to make that work, and I mix them with my contrast colors, which also helps, because then in that medium that makes the contrast colors flow so well gets added into the pigments that are in my more opaque colors, and it actually ends up creating a really nice blend. But you can really go about it whatever is more comfortable for you. Now, the benefit of doing, say, a Grisaille or a Zenithal Prime is because you are getting that pre-shade, I personally find it adds a more realistic quality to whatever figure you're working on, regardless of how cartoony the figure itself is. And because of that, it's because you get natural shadows and highlights on the model with your pre-shade method. Whereas what I'm doing here on like Gambit is I just went with the Wraithbone pure because I would rather let the saturation of the colors be what stands out the strongest, and I will personally build up some greater highlights or shadows if I find that I need to, but I'd rather let a lot of contrast colors do a lot of the work for me. And so by having that purer color, I get that truer color tone. Graham, I definitely think you could use the Citadel colors as detailing paints. The one thing I will say about Citadel's standard acrylic paints, they are a little bit on the thick side normally. So if you want to be able to get a good flow with them, you'll definitely want to mix in either just some water or some other medium to help thin them and give them some flow aid. Especially if you're wanting to do, say, free-handed decal work or free-handed numbers, anything like that kind of detail work, you definitely want to get good flow out of them, because my personal experience with the Citadel colors is they're kind of goopy right out of the pot. Like they dry really fast in my opinion, and they just are very thick. And one of the reasons I disliked painting miniatures back in the day, before I really got my hands on contrast colors, was because I didn't like the thickness quality of Citadel, and that's all I had access to or really knew at the time. This was like back 12 plus years ago, so it's been a while. I will say that I do disagree that you can't use contrast colors to do detail work. You can. You just have to remove a lot of the excess contrast color out of your brush. So often, a lot of people will approach contrast colors, and this is how it's intended to be approached, where you kind of oversaturate your brush a little bit with the color so that you have a lot of it in there, and that way you can flow it and move it across the palette. And we'll look at that in a second once I'm finished cleaning up this jacket and we start actually working on putting the browns on there, because that will give you an idea, because I'm going to use a contrast color for it. But if you want more control and you want to try doing freehand or something with contrast, you can. You just have to get a lot more of that color out of your brush, and you want your brush to almost not look dry, but it needs to not have that sheen that it gets when it's slightly overfilled with color. Because once you've gotten a little bit of that excess color out, the flow is actually a lot more like it's not smooth, that's not the way to describe it. It's more controlled. Like, if you oversaturate your brush with the color, it's less controllable and you will get overflow. But if you remove some of that and treat it more like you would a normal paint and not have that excess color in there and that excess moisture in there, you will get a little bit more control. Basically my point is I've done freehand with contrasts. So I do think it's possible, but it's a bit more challenging. You really need to understand how that paint works and moves, and you want to practice a little bit beforehand, especially before you go on to like a piece that you value like a huge amount, that if you fucked it up, you'd be really, really pissed at yourself. Like, I would maybe practice on something before going to that with this technique. Otherwise, just use a more standard acrylic, because I do think that is a little bit easier when it comes to freehand, but yeah. I do think it's possible. But I do think it's good to start with, like, Like, honestly, I would just recommend if you're wanting to get started with, like, quote-unquote miniature paints of other brands, you know, that's not Tamiya specifically, that are not specifically used by, like, scale modelers, then I would genuinely just pick up a starter set of some variety. Whether or not you get, say, the new Fanatics paint line starter set from the Army Painter, you go and pick up one of the Citadel brand starter sets, which even comes with a miniature in it, I think, and even some of the Fanatics ones do too. So you can even test the paint out on something completely unimportant to you, and that's totally random and just part of the set, to see how they flow and figure out, do you like them? Do you like how they work, etc. And I know there's other brands out there, like Vallejo has some, like, sets of paint that you can pick up, and they even come in, like, military colors, which may be more appropriate to your aircraft. So depending on, like, what you're doing, Tooth and Coats is good, but they don't really have starter sets as far as I know. I think they only have, like, their big compilation sets, and then you can buy them individually, so I wouldn't necessarily go to them for, like, wanting to get a small starting collection to get yourself going. Unless you're just wanting to buy them individually, and then you have, like, basically everybody that you could possibly think to choose from, and it can be a little overwhelming, but I would personally, I'm really liking the new Warpaints Fanatics. They flow well, they have a creaminess that I think works really well for wet blending and doing detail work. So I would recommend these, and they're really affordable. So you can get the starter set. It, like, comes with, like, I think 12 paints, including a black, a white, and then all of your, like, basic rainbow colors, essentially. With, I think, like, a brown in there, and I do think it comes with, like, a wash and a metallic. And I do think, like, that is a completely worthwhile and viable set if you're just wanting to get a small collection of paints cheaply to start with, because I'm really loving these paints. And they work like normal paints. They're not like contrast or anything like that. They're standard acrylics. Okay, I need to get back to, I mean, I love these talks, but man, I get distracted when I go into this, like, long explanation of making recommendations and talking shop. You guys get me talking shop, and then I just don't know what to do with myself. I just can't focus. All right, we have a little bit on the back here. I noticed on his shoulders. Do the back side of his collar. I know I said I'd do the right side first, but I'm already here, so we're just gonna go with it. Alright, I think that's looking alright. Oh, no, there's a little bit there. Top of his arm. Okay, we'll do a second pass in a moment, so let's get the inside of this collar. Alright. Gently. Gently. Alright, there we go. A little bit on there, that still kind of looks grayish to me. I think we can come in a little bit more. Here. technically it doesn't really matter if I get the brown on that section because it's going to be silver. That's why I decided not to do it yet. So I'm not too worried. Okay, I need to do the underside a little bit more, but I need the paint to dry this. So now that we've gotten that done, I can get back to your okay, so I'm gonna try. My hope is to try Thoughtsmith. I do want to try doing the details on some of the cards, at least like a little bit, because I noticed on the box art they have like, I mean, they've printed that on. There's no way they painted that, but I'm gonna try a little bit, see what I can do. What I might end up doing is trying to make the details show up as still the pink, like those, like, okay, for example, on the drawing version of him, they kind of have done the colors, like, obviously I think it's meant to be like the Queen of Hearts in red and the Ace of Diamonds in red, but because they've made it look very pinky, I'm gonna sort of do it that way. Like, I might try to lighten the card a little bit and then make the details still be in the pink color tone that I end up doing on the full, like, his, I forget what his, like, actual mutant power is, like, referred to as, but his explosive, like, power mysticism thing that goes off. Yeah, thank you. I am sure I'm going to need a lot of luck with it, because I imagine it's going to be a little challenging. The other thing that I do... Ooh, okay, so I just looked down and I have one of my microns here, which is, this is what I actually used to dot the eyes on Rogue. Was my micron 0.005, which is a very tiny... Hold on, let me see if I can get it to focus. Very tiny tip. Okay, so really tiny tip. That's what I use to dot her eyes. I have one of those in pink. So I could cheat it and actually physically draw rather than paint them on. I like the way we're thinking. I like the way we're thinking, chat. This is a, like, hold on, I think it's literally over here. No, it's in my... Meow. 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 He wants food. Oh. He's like, hey, wait, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. Alright, let's... It's the brown one. Where is the pink? Like, I literally used it. There it is. Alright, I wanna... We're gonna do a little testy test. Because I can cover this. Oh. So, you guys, I don't think saw that, but the bottom of my paint handle is magnetic, because Redgrass Games, when you buy one of these, will send these little circular magnets that are stickers that you can put down on your desk, and then you can set this down and have a stable location where it can't get knocked over, which is super nice. But it also means that, like, any metal thing will just stick to the bottom of the thing. Though, I will constantly have tools fly to my paint handles sometimes. Now, when I want to test, because I can always cover this with Wraithbone, let me make sure that I'm on screen so you guys can see this little test. And actually, I'm going to record this, which means that we're going to disappear, so give me a second. I think that could work. And I also think that's pretty close to that pink color. So provided... These are supposed to be waterproof. So provided... Let's do a further test. Just gonna take a little bit of water. Might be a little colored looking. You know what, actually, let's take a little bit of the pink. Let's thin it. Let's not stick it in my drinking water. Thank you, Angela. Don't. So one problem with having water as my drink and not like a soda when I'm working on stuff, and this is a terrible excuse, but it is slightly my justification sometimes. I have stuck my brush in my clean water before that I've been wanting to drink, and then I've had to completely like clean the glass and all this stuff, and it makes me feel silly. All right, now I think it's still a little wet, but that's okay actually. This will be a good test. I'm gonna disappear to do the recording. Okay, so it does lift it up, but not fully. Okay, it does not take it up fully, but it does a little. So we'll need to figure something out for that. Maybe I'll do it last then. That might be what I end up doing. Okay. Good test. Good test. Excellent knowledge. Yeah, because I just smeared it off some more, and yeah, it's completely taken it up. Which also good to know. If you fuck something up and you're using a micron to do some of your detail work, you can remove it. So they're archival on paper, but not on metal, or on miniatures. Really not that surprising to me, but I think I have a plan. I think this is still gonna be working. Exactly, Ken. That's exactly the problem. Is my subconscious goes, I need to clean this brush, and especially right now, this glass is so much taller than my water cup that I'm using to actually rinse my brush in, and so I'm just like, huh. Go for the tall one. That catches your eye first, right? Alright. Did I actually finish what I needed to with... No, not quite. We have a little bit more touch-up to do on his jacket before we can move on. I feel really bad, because I feel like I've dilly-dallied, but we've had some good conversations, so it's not a complete waste. Alright, that is starting to look really nice and clean. Am I being anal? Yes. Is it because of what happened in episode 5? Yes. Speaking of... There we go. You know, I have not. I've seen some, I have seen some Gundam lining, like, marker material, but I've never actually used them. They're on my wish list, I think. They're on one of my wish lists. But I haven't actually picked them up. Are they waterproof? Do they work well, like, with paint going over them? Because my concern is, like, contrast paints have a specific medium in them, and I don't know if that's what's affecting the ink or not. And I'm worried that the Gundam markers might do the same thing. Also, do they have a vivid pink? Like a magenta or like a fuchsia color tone? Oh gosh, yeah, Thoughtsmith, you completely nailed it on the head. But I mean, okay, here's the thing that I just want to put into context, because I feel like sometimes people, like, in our community, being the miniature gaming hobbyists community, and I think the same thing kind of happens to figure collectors a little bit as well, especially people who, like, do repaints, but even those who don't. But, like, all things considered, yes, we end up buying a lot of small plastic toys, right? Because let's face it, that's what they are. They're toys. I get it. I'm not denying that part of it. And yeah, that might be cringe for some people, sure. But it's still cheaper and, to me, just as fulfilling as the person who goes and spends thousands and thousands of dollars collecting shoes. Like sneakers, like sneakerheads or something. Or like people who collect cars or whatever. Like, those people are spending infinitesimally more money than I've spent on my Warhammer collection. But because ours is nerdy and therefore, like, childish, because it's literally toys, it gets, like, a bad rep. But I don't really, like, don't let that bring you down, guys. Don't let that bring you down, because your hobby is 100% valid as long as it brings you fulfillment, it doesn't actually injure or harm anyone else. And I think, personally, and I'm not saying this necessarily about the people who maybe collect or work on cars, but, like, if you're just collecting fashion wear or bags or shoes or something, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think what we're doing, especially if you are doing the creative side of it and adding to the model by painting it and turning it into a tiny little artwork, I don't know, that's very fulfilling to me. So I don't think you should feel bad about it, and I hope that you guys feel fulfilled by that as well. Alright, that was my TED Talk. Thank you for being here. Let's get some brown paint on this bitch. I need snakebite leather. And a larger brush. I'll need to go get a larger brush. One moment, I need a larger brush. Meow, says my cat. Except it's a much higher pitched. He has a very, very not masculine meow. He's adorable. I love him so much. Alright, we're gonna lift this up a smooch. We're gonna shake, shake, shake. Shake the snake bite. We're gonna put our headphones back in so we have some nice music. How's the music volume for you guys, by the way? Everything good? Not too loud? I'm not getting drowned out or anything? I just feel like sometimes we let ourselves get put down and made to feel bad because our hobbies are not the normal hobbies people excessively spend money on, and don't feel bad about that. Like, don't, like, obviously you should, thank you. I'm really glad the music is a good volume. Good. Perfect. I really, like, obviously you don't want to go overboard and, like, put yourself into insane debt or go crazy and, like, lose your house because you've overspent on your hobbies. There are points where you push it beyond it being healthy. But that's the same for any hobby or anything that you do. So, like, obviously, moderation is key, but moderation varies depending on what it is that you're doing. So, like, I feel like what I have collected is within my moderation of my means. Like, like, what I have is within my means. And I think that's what you should do, is, like, obviously collect and indulge in your hobby within your own means, which is specific to you as an individual, and rather being compared to random Joe Schmo on the internet. I want to clean my water. Look how blue my water is right now. It's very like purpley blue, right? So I'm gonna go rinse that because I don't want that mixing with my like rich deep brown color tones I'm about to mix in there, because I have noticed that when I put my brush in, I'm like picking up that pigmentation. And when I wipe it on the paper towel, I leave a little bit of a blue stain first. So I don't want that to be a problem. No, I'm not feeding you yet. Meow, meow, meow. I got like 5 more meows. 5 more sad little meows of, Mom, I'm hungry. Why haven't you fed me? Mom. The joy of having pets. Excellent. Good. Alright, this is probably going to be a 2-layer job. So let's go. We're going to disappear so I can get the recording portion done. Let's go. See if we can clean this up a little bit. Oops, sorry. Oh god. Alright, let's set him up this way. Okay. Alright, I think that actually looks pretty decent. I'm gonna pull a little bit of paint up. Okay. Alright. Definitely need to do 2 layers, so I'm pulling a little bit more paint up. Okay. Stop recording. Come back in. you can totally do the project. The restraints you've put on yourself, I get it. And definitely, obviously, take it at your own pace. But I promise you, if you put your mind to it, and you go, and you just start working on it, even if it takes you a few days, a few weeks, a few months, if you keep making progress on it, take it piece by a time, you know? Like, do the squig first, work on his flesh. Get that to a point that you're happy with. Then, clean up the areas that you need to continue working on, and work on another section. Maybe do his mouth. Maybe do his mouth first, actually. Get all that in there, then clean that up, then do his flesh. Like, it's really about how you end up approaching the project, I think, is really what can unlock you feeling more comfortable doing something. Is like, okay, for example, on Gambit here, I really had to decide where should I start? Should I start with his pants? Should I start with his shirts? Should I start with his jacket, etc.? And ultimately, I decided that doing the pants would be best because I wanted to get the innermost areas, like the most hard to reach areas done first. And his pants felt like that was the area. Actually, his shirt felt like that was the area, but I felt like doing the blue first would be better. And this is another thing that just ended up being a variable in choosing what I end up doing first. But as long as you're thinking about it that way, I think you can actually approach a model in a way that is a lot more reasonable for yourself and how your work methods work. We're going to be here for a bit, letting this dry. But I do overall like the way that it's coming out. I'm definitely going to need a second coat. Obviously, we're going to do the upper portion first. But I don't want to be swirling the paint around too much, which is why I'm just going to let them sit here and dry. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to Be Right Back on, and I'm going to go feed my cat real fast so that he stops meowing at me. Yeah, exactly. Go slow, take your time, and approach it at a pace that feels comfortable to you. And really, before you start, like, thinking about how to begin, I think is the best way to do that. And I normally go with whatever is the hardest to reach area. I'll complete that first because then I can work my way from that deepest area to the more reachable areas, realistically, meaning that I'm avoiding having to accidentally get paint on that paint portion I've already painted. Some people like to go from a dark to light colors or vice versa. It's really kind of what works best for you. And you have to experiment. Like, that's one of the things that I think I sometimes don't even talk about enough in my tutorials, and I definitely feel like other people sometimes don't always talk about enough, especially when trying to encourage people to either get back into miniatures or get started in miniatures for the first time. It is a lot of trial and error and experimenting with finding what works for you and your method of approach. Because one thing that I definitely feel like a lot of people have learned over this hobby growing and growing and growing as it has over the years, especially in the modern boom, is that the classic methods of how to paint miniatures that we were taught back in like the 80s and 90s is not the god and be all only way to paint miniatures. There's dozens of methods and ways to approach, and now everybody's able to share that with everybody else because of the internet. And so it's really opened up a lot of people, I think, to the hobby, and I hope to see that continue. You know, like, I really want to see that just continue on going forward and everything, and just more and more people get involved in this kind of art. I think it's a lot of fun. And it's also something that at least right now, I don't feel like AI can take from me. So, ha 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 ha. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to feed my cats and let this dry a little bit more, and then we'll get back to painting Gambit. accidentally clicked off of the music and I had to go back. That's why you might have heard me go, oh shit. Alright. Thankfully, the cats are fed. And this looks dried. It's a little rough, but I think it'll work. And we're going to layer it up a little bit here in a bit. But first, let's do the headphones. Don't stick to the... Don't get in the paint. Don't get in the paint. And don't stick to my paint thing. Handle. I don't know why I always forget the word handle. Hello, RDGK. Hope you're doing well today. Alright. Let's go. No, I don't know you do that. I'm not gonna worry if I get this on his skin, on his like hands or anything like that, because I am going to end up painting over those. So let's just go for it, go wild. Be a little messy. It's okay. Oops, that splattered a little bit. Have some paint dramatically drip off onto my table, and oh yeah, because it's got some major pool in there, don't you, bud? Alright, only clean that up. Let's get that over. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do multiple layers on some of these. Ooh. Okay, let's clean that up. Where'd that drip down from? Oh, his belt. Okay, that's fine. Alright, let's get a little bit more paint on our palette. I think I overwatered when I brought it back. That's why it's looking so thin. I'm really glad. There we go. That's a little better. That's a little bit more color. We're gonna put him upright. Ooh, yeah, we keep getting some pooling from here. Let's wipe that away. We don't want it to get too dark, because it definitely was risking that. Alright. A little bit more paint. Sometimes it's a little bit of a back and forth. Nope. Sorry. There you go. Alright, yeah, we're gonna let that dry. And do the inside. Oh, and then the underside. And I got so much paint on my... I got so much paint on my desk. Let me also clean that up. Also, let me move my water so I don't try to stick my brush in it again. Like, we're just gonna go, like, behind the camera where it's maybe a little bit more out of line of sight. Out of line of sight so I can stop trying to stick things in it. That's what he said. No, just a different wet and dry difference. It's actually a difference in the level of moisture that I put into it. So contrast colors, certain ones, and snakebite leather is definitely one of them. If you really, really thin it, it is a completely different color from if you pull it out of the pot and don't water it down at all. Which actually adds a lot of variety to the product, and I think makes it very versatile. But also does create some consistency issues. But the nice thing is we're going to be going back over this with a little bit of some natural highlights. So we should be good to go. But we need to finish up the underside, do the inside of the front of the coat, which will be a little bit easier to do because we'll be able to be in a lot more control. Oh, let me also finish cleaning up this paint. There we go. I'm actually considering getting a new hobby desk when I move. Because I love this thing, and I still am going to end up using it. But as I've had it with only one of its shortest ends butted up against the wall as it being another bracing point, its only other like support is a singular leg that goes in at an angle. If you're familiar with the IKEA Nordstrom? Hold on, let me look up what the name of this table is. So that if you guys want to look it up, you can. It's like Nord something IKEA. Norden, I think. Yeah, okay, so guys, if you guys are familiar with the Norden from IKEA, that's what I use as my hobby desk. Which is really nice because it's got two table sides that are square that fold from the side. And then there's a center, like, support that has 6 drawers in it, 3 on each side. So it gives you some nice storage, and it's very, like, you can collapse it, which is really nice and why I originally got it. Because when I lived back on my old place before we moved here, I was in a much smaller location, and I actually didn't have both sides open. I only had one of the sides open for, like, a really long time, and it rotated locations in the space as, like, we rearranged or whatever. So it's very, very versatile for that reason. But I've also had it for, like, 6 years now, and I feel like it's getting a little wobbly because I think some of its pieces are just loosening. And also, it's literally only got the 2 legs on either side, which support, and one each supports the table surface. And I think I kind of want something a bit that shakes a little less, because that's why my camera wiggles so much sometimes. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the stream. Oh, absolutely. I think the old world Tomb Kings would totally be, like, any skeletons, anything that has a lot of, like, furs or, like, alien flesh tones. I find contrast, you can just snap it on there. It's so good. Needs very minimal. I mean, like, I'm actually very happy with how this is looking. I just want to push it even further, which is why I'm going to do some, like, a little bit more blending, like what I did on Rogue's jacket. But I'm actually very satisfied with how this is starting to look. It needs another layer. It's not quite dark enough. It's a little more yellowy on especially the upper half than I want. But we got to let everything dry before we can do anything else, because if you start moving the paint around when it's like half dried but some of it's not, you can completely pull it out of that entire recessed area and then have this weird, like, reverse contrast of what it should be, where, like, you've got nothing on the inner side and you actually have more color on the surface areas. Yeah, but we're looking pretty good. I'm very happy. Just need to, like I said, dry a bit. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. I'm very happy. I especially like how his abs have turned out. Got some nice, like, highlights on those abs. Pants look pretty cool. Looking forward to putting the metallic bits on. I think that's going to make them really pop. But yeah, the leather's turning out nice. Like I said, I want to do another coat. Then I will start mixing in some opaque paints with my contrast colors to give me a little bit of a nicer... A little bit of a... Almost like a gouache in quality, if you guys have ever worked with gouache. And if you have, I'm sorry. It's a little finicky. But I do like the opacity of it. Because it's like a weird in-between of acrylic and watercolor. Is how I like to describe it. Hi, Kita. You hanging out? You hanging out with me now that I've fed you? Trying to steal my paintbrush? Is that what you're doing? This is not for you. She was like batting at my paintbrush on the floor a little bit. I think we can do the inside. So let's get our smaller brush. We are definitely going to want a bit more paint. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and capture some of this. So we're gonna disappear for a moment. Don't worry, folks. Chat and everything will be back on screen in a moment. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and stop that. We got about a minute. Hello, welcome back. All right, give me a second. I need to come in close to my face. All right. Building up that color. Later, Ken! Thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry, I need to clear my throat there for a moment. Alright, there we go. Let's disappear one more time. Go. There we go. Alright, we're gonna let that dry, see if we need another layer, and then do the underside. But I'm actually very, very happy, hold on, let me get back in focus, with how that's starting to look. Although I did realize that I missed that side of the collar. So let's fix that. There we go. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and, I want to darken this side. So we did, like, the other side. So let's get another layer on this. All right, yeah, I think it's gonna need a little bit of like cleanup, and we'll do some blending, but I think it's gonna look good. Oh, Halfman, thank you so much for the $10 tip. I really appreciate it. That does help brighten my gray day. Especially because it's a nice yellow little pop-up as well. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate all of your support and just really everybody in chat as well, but you especially, Halfman. Thank you so very much. Also, thank you for subscribing, Logan Nilsson. Welcome to the channel. Oop. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, right? Some nice rich brown. Hopefully I don't mess it up by adding some highlights. I think we'll be okay, though. I think we'll be fine. Alright. He's coming along. So once I get this done, realistically, what's left on him is going to be his face, his hair, the cards being thrown out, and then the metallics. So I think I'm probably going to end up doing metallics next. That will allow me to do the staff, any of the final details on his chest, his belt, and then I can do, I think, probably his face and hands, and then I'll do the cards. The cards are definitely going to be last. Like, the cards are for sure going to be last. And then, of course, like, the base, obviously, but... Oh, got another good crack out of my neck. I think I, like, slept weird last night or something, because, like, my neck has been so stiff today. Oh, do you guys ever have that happen? I'm sure you probably do. I'm sure everybody has that happen sometimes, but yeah, it's just, like, the last couple nights in a row. Oh, it's just been really stiff, man. Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. It's a very funny song by a K-pop band. And it just changed, so I don't know who, let me just go back. Blackpink. Featuring Selena Gomez, actually. I did not realize that. Called Ice Cream. And I frankly love it. They also did one called Sour Candy with Lady Gaga. Also really like it. Yes, this is the snakebite leather. Because they're from the snakebite orcs. But yes, it's a really good leather color tone. It sometimes is a little finicky to work with, but if you're patient with it and go thin and layer it, I think you can get some really nice leather color tones out of it. But this is definitely one of the colors from Contrast that I think really suffered, in my opinion, from the terrible marketing that they did on the brand originally when it first launched with the one thick coat problem. Because this color does some nasty things with one thick coat. It can be very splotchy looking, and it's not exactly, like, pleasant. Or really natural looking occasionally. And yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping we can get some, like, nice warm color tones. Actually, I want to see, because I think before, did I mix... I don't have that palette anymore. I think I mixed this tone. My desert yellow. Is that gonna be too mustardy? No, I think that'll work. Let's mix it. We're gonna do some testing while this dries. Because I think I actually used a different color on Rogue. And I do want their jackets to look kind of different. Oh yeah, this'll work. This'll work well. Alright, we got a little bit of moisture left, but I think we can go ahead and get the underside of the leather jacket. Now this, I'm going to go in a little bit more just with the one thick coat, not as much water into it. Because I'm not worried, I'm not worried about the underside looking darker. That's fine, it can look darker. Get a little bit of water. A little bit more paint. Mostly paint. Alright, I'm gonna pull it out of the camera because I really need to, like, kind of flip them upside down, and I need the edge of my desk. Just spreading some paint around right now. Okay. Let that dry, and then we can move forward. Actually, maybe get some highlights done before we wrap this up for the day. I mean, Andy, depending on who some of your favorite characters are, mad, sad, aggressively depressed, crying your eyes out. Yes. In fact, episode 5 is a little brutal. Yeah, it is. Now, it's not new, specifically. It is following a canon comic storyline, from my understanding. So, like, it may or may not come as a shock what happens, but I cried. Let's just say that. Episode 5 of X-Men 97 had me in tears by the end. Christian, thank you so much. We are doing quite well. We're slowly starting to get into the packing process of some of the non-essentials and things that are a little tedious to pack, like the Lego, for example. We're starting to pack some of that up. We just, Chaos Cultist recently organized, like, all of our cards, all of our TCG cards, and those are all in really nice, like, storage containers that we bought for moving this time, so they're more cohesive and, like, together and a bit more organized, which is great. Oh, yeah, no problem. No problem. Then Andy, yeah, you probably won't. So, okay. Do you want spoilers? Because I think most, like, let me, I guess I'll put it into chat. And I'll definitely give spoiler warning, so for those of you that are listening later on, of, like, you can stop, and I'll make a note of when you can come back in. Like, I'll wave my hands, I'll do like this or something when you can come back in. But let me know if you want spoilers, because it's not, like I said, it's what happens has happened in the comics at least once or twice. And I fully believe a theory that I have seen online floating around about what the result of said thing that happened in episode 5 will result in. No. If you don't want spoilers, I'm gonna leave it. No, because it's a very, I think it's a very powerful episode in very good ways. Like, yes, you might be angry because of what happens, but I think the actual narrative that leads to it, everything that goes on, the things that are said, what is being done, is incredibly poignant and beautiful. And so, like I'm thinking about it right now, and, like, literally tears are coming to my eyes, because I really thought it was very powerful. I love Magneto in this episode. That's all I'll say, and Magneto is, I am literally crying. Magneto is one of my favorite characters as well. I think he is phenomenal. I love the arcs that man's character has gone through. It is fantastic, and I think, oh my god, my left eye is just, like, leaking tears now. I think X-Men 97 has done exceptional work. Genuinely with all of them. I don't know the comics well enough to know if that's what I think it is as well, and I don't want to say specifically because I don't want to give, like, accidental spoilers unintentionally, so I'm not going to confirm or deny. Michael, I don't doubt that. Moving can totally suck. Like, I am torn because I'm very excited because the more that I've thought about the move, the more I've sort of reconciled with it of, like, okay, this is actually less of a, oh god, fuck my life sort of moment, and more so a cool opportunity with the potential for even greater content and joy to come out of what I do for my job and just with my life. Especially since, as I sort of said in the video talking about how we're having to say goodbye to our new, or to this current place, that we're gonna actually go into the space setting it up entirely for YouTube and OnlyFans and content creation, right? That's gonna be the plan. And we didn't get to do that when we moved in here. And we've been looking at some places, and I'm actually getting quite excited because they're cheaper than what we're paying here, and also larger. We're further out, which means we'll have to drive a bit more, but I have a decent car now, and I'm not really worried about that. So it's looking actually very optimistic, all things considered. But there is still an inevitable stress that comes with moving shit, and I have a lot of delicate shit. So, Andy, what I have been doing with my Lego sets is I bought a bunch of those, like, foam sheets that you can get off Amazon, and I wish they were a little bit larger. Maybe they have larger ones, but I got these little square ones that I think are, like, 12 by 12. And I've been taping, like, just with a single piece of tape, 3 of those together where there's some overlap, and I'm actually just wrapping all of my Lego. Hold on, let me go grab the box, actually, while this is, still finishing its drying, because there's still, like, one little tiny wet spot. Let me go grab the box, and I'll show you what I'm doing, because, like, I think this is gonna work really well, and I've seen some other people do it, and so far, it seems very stable, and they're all cushioned, and I'm not having to necessarily break anything apart, so hold on. Okay. So, I bought a number of large Tupperwares, right? And these are the kind, you don't necessarily have to get this style, and I'm gonna have to get some bigger ones because some of the sets are just too big to fit in this. But this is the kind where they have the little tray that comes out, and literally all I've been doing is using, like, foam sheets and just wrapping them and taping them loosely. Like, they're not really, like, strongly taped, but just loose enough so that I can sort of gently arrange them in a pile, fill the tray, and then just have them all together. And then, like I've really stacked, you can kind of see they're overlapping each other a bit, because this is a bunch of Star Wars. if you can't tell. So they do overlap a bit, but it's really honestly been working out pretty well. That's why it's not sticking. That snapped. Unfortunately, we ordered these off of Amazon, and the fucking Amazon delivery driver, like, look at that massive crack. Absolutely destroyed. See that crack? Like, broke a bunch of these. They're still usable, thankfully, for what we're wanting to use them for. We're gonna have to get more, but I'm just gonna get them from, like, Target or Walmart or something like that. Just to not have to worry about the shipping. But that's what I've been doing for mine. Oh, nice! That's awesome! Hopefully it's going well. But that's what I'm doing for a lot of my Lego. And for my miniatures, I've got a combination of carry cases that have just, like, you know, army storage, like the normal kind that you get from Battle Foam. See, that works too. Well, and that's nice too, because at least the gallon Ziploc bags are gonna, like, if you do have pieces break off, it'll collect it. That's why I'm putting them in the foam. Like, the foam is my loose catching of pieces that might bump off in the move, but I'm hoping that it'll be very, very minimal, and that they'll be collected. But I like the Ziploc bag idea, because that's really the big concern, right? Okay, so do I want to do... I feel like I want to do a little bit of highlighting on him. So let's do some testing on the underside, where I was a bit sloppier, and see how this color works for us. Oh yeah, that blends really well. Just gonna bring it out to me real quick to, like, really make sure my color is actually blending. And I think it is. I think I need to do a bit more of a mix. Oh, that shouldn't be too bad either. So that's what I'm doing. I'm only moving, like, a town or two over as well. Like, right now where I'm looking is about an hour from where I live currently. So not too bad of a move, and I'm hoping it'll go smoothly. I do think this time we're going to hire some people to move some of our stuff. It really depends on, like, when we have to physically leave where we're actually living currently. And that's really where it comes down to. That's the darker color. Let's move on. Yeah, that's working pretty well, actually. Now, but I do want to blend a little bit of a lighter color tone in there on those edges. And come back to our dark tone. That, yes. Even up the underside of his jacket a little bit. Here, because there's some real awkward splotchiness. And a little bit of the pink still, actually. I have no idea if you guys can see anything. Nope, you just see the underside. Sorry, I'll show you what I've done in a moment. More snake bite. Well, I hope you get to move soon. I know that when we were stuck in our old place we were there for like 10 years, and I definitely was feeling the like, yeah, no, I'm ready to move. After that point. Okay. Let's test this color on the front. She's blending pretty well. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and readjust my focus. This up here for a moment while I record. It's gonna require some back and forth, I think. Probably means I'm gonna end up doing the rest of it off camera, but I do think I'm getting somewhere. I do think I'm getting somewhere. Maybe. Or I'm just fucking everything up, one or the other. I think it's kind of doing what I want it to, but it's a weird, these aren't quite the colors I think they're mixed together. And neither were the first colors that I mixed together either, so I think that's where my problem's coming from, but we're gonna keep attempting. There, I like that. Let's see what I can do with this. A little bit more of the yellowy tone in there. Maybe not that much. Okay. Alright. Can I bring my shoulders up? No, honestly, I think it is working. Alright, I'm gonna capture a little bit of this. Nice wet blending. That looks really nice, I think. Alright, go ahead and stop that. Bring us back. actually some of the best leather I've painted. Alright, we're gonna keep doing that. Keep going. Oh, shit. Well, we almost borked that. That could have been dangerous, but we fixed it. It's fine. Do I like the way the back is looking? For the most part, there's a little bit here. All right, hold on. I gotta be here down. Alright. Got that side done up. Let's get back in here and do this side. Need to mix a little bit more of this color. There we go. I think that's pretty accurate. I am completely out of focus, sorry. Alright, I think we just need to do the cape portion. Wish me luck. But you know what? This actually looks great. I'm gonna do one more capture. There we go. It's looking good. I'm gonna pull him off camera for just a moment. Actually, I need to mix a little bit more paint. So let's do that. Also need a bit more snake bite on my palette because I'm out. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm like so nervous that I'm like gonna last minute fuck it up, but I think we're doing some alright stuff. Darker color we just lay down. Back to that darker color. Let's get some of that light color to, oh, sorry. There we go. You want the zombie Lego head on my shelf? It's pretty, I think, easy to get. You can find it on the website, I think, for Lego year-round. But otherwise, you find it in stores around Halloween. This is too bright. Alright, hold on. I need to take him off camera for a moment. feel like I'm kind of making progress, but I'm also like worried I've worked it. Smooth this. Please focus on the thing that I'm flipping on. There we go. One sort of line of where I think I had some layering happen. I'm trying to cover up a little bit. Otherwise, I do actually think I've smoothed it out. Just need a little bit more blending in here. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. A little bit more on the side. And then I think the jacket is pretty much done. Which is great. Except for that one side that I apparently just completely missed. Oops. Let's fix that. Let's fix that little area that I completely missed. There we go, that's looking... Oh my god, I missed that section too! Good lord, Angela, what are you doing? What are you doing? You just straight up didn't paint that entire edge. What an idiot. Well, that would have been embarrassing, but now I think it's fine, and I think the leather looks pretty gosh darn good. Very happy with it. And I think that is where we're officially going to end it today. I wanted to get that done. I'm feeling pretty confident to move forward. I might do a little bit more finessing with the leather, maybe, but honestly I'm feeling pretty satisfied. And I don't think I missed any spots anymore. Nice. Alright, I'm feeling happy with that. Thank you guys so much for joining me today in this little bit longer hobby live stream. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know we had some good rambles, especially earlier on, about just like hobby positivity and all that. So if you missed it, make sure to go back and watch that. If you don't want to miss any future live streams, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. And if you like this kind of content, you want to make sure that I keep doing more, go ahead and give the video a like. It really does help encourage me and lets me know that you guys are enjoying what I am doing. Anyways, I want to thank you all for being here, hanging out with me today. I know it was a little bit rambly, but I appreciate you all sticking around and listening to me ramble. Anyways, have a good rest of your night, everybody. I hope everybody has an absolutely lovely hobby night and hobby weekend, and I will see you guys back with another live stream this Tuesday. Until then, look forward to a video out tomorrow where I unbox some of the new Joy Toy action figures that I was sent. Very excited about. They sent me a huge number of them, and I picked a couple out that I think will be particularly impressive and also just relevant to me as a hobbyist and Warhammer enthusiast. So be looking forward to that tomorrow, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody!